The note touched his palm like a live wire. Jun Sok didn't look down at first. In his world, sudden movements meant death, and a waitress lingering too long meant trouble. He kept his gaze on the glass wall of the penthouse restaurant, on the city kneeling beneath him, on the reflection of men who trusted him to breathe. The waitress bowed, eyes lowered, hands trembling just enough to be convincing. When she turned away, the paper unfolded itself against his skin, and 3 sentences burned through years of careful control. Your fiancé sold you out. They're in position. Jun Sok read it once. Then again. He lifted his glass, smiling faintly as if savoring wine, while his mind tore the room apart. The exits. The private elevator. The security cameras he had installed himself. The men at the bar were wrong for the place. The couple near the window was too still. He folded the note and slid it into his sleeve, the way he'd been trained as a boy when his father taught him how to hide blades and secrets. He did not look at his fiancée. Not yet. Hannah sat across from him, radiant in a white silk dress that whispered when she moved. She smiled at him with a tenderness he had learned to crave in a life that offered none. He remembered the night she said yes, the way she'd cried into his chest and called him safe. He remembered promising himself that love could be a clean thing if he kept it far from the business. He remembered believing her. The waitress was already at the service door, breath hitching, heart slamming. Her name was Mira, and this was not the life she had chosen. 3 months earlier, a man with cold eyes had placed a photograph on her kitchen table. Her younger brother outside a bus terminal, knuckles bruised, lip split. Do what you're told, the man had said, or he disappears. Tonight, she had been told to keep walking. To pretend she was invisible. Instead, she had written the truth on a receipt with a borrowed pen and risked everything. Jun Sok stood, buttoning his jacket. Applause rippled through the room as a violinist finished a piece. The timing was wrong. Too neat. He leaned close to Hannah and kissed her cheek. Stay, he said softly. I need to take a call. Her hand tightened on his wrist, just for a moment too long, and then she smiled and let go. In the hallway beyond the dining room, the air changed. His head of security, Min Jae, appeared as if summoned by thought. Jun Sok murmured a single word, old code, meaning scatter. Min Jae's eyes flicked to the ceiling, to the cameras. He nodded and vanished. The first shot shattered a wine bottle. Screams tore through the restaurant. Jun Sok moved, not running, but flowing, slipping into the shadow between 2 pillars as guards he did not recognize surged from the bar. He drew a compact pistol from his sleeve and fired once, twice, clean and precise, disabling rather than killing. He had learned long ago that mercy, used correctly, could buy time. In the chaos, Mira crouched behind a service cart, hands over her head. A man grabbed her hair and yanked her up. You, he snarled, recognizing the face he'd been told to ignore. The gun lifted. A body slammed into him from the side, hard enough to crack bone. Min Jae dragged Mira into the stairwell as bullets chewed the wall. Run, he said, and shoved her down the steps. Jun Sok reached the private elevator and found it locked from the inside. Hannah's face appeared behind the glass, beautiful and terrible in its calm. It didn't have to be like this, she said through the intercom. You chose this life. He laughed, a short sound that surprised him. No, he said. I chose you. Her eyes flickered, just once. Then the elevator dropped. The fight spilled into the parking structure. Engines roared. Sirens wailed in the distance. Jun Sok took a graze to the shoulder and felt the warm spill of blood. Pain sharpened him. He commandeered a car, tires screaming as he burst into the night, Min Jae following with Mira hunched low in the back seat, shaking. They reached a safe house by the river, an old warehouse that smelled of oil and rain. Jun Sok had his wound bound without ceremony. He watched Mira with an intensity that made her flinch. Why? He asked, not unkindly. She told him everything. The photograph. The threats. The choice that wasn't one. When she finished, she bowed until her forehead touched the concrete. I'm sorry, she said. I know you don't forgive. He surprised them both by kneeling to her level. I forgive, he said. I remember. He ordered Min Jae to find her brother. Alive. Dawn came gray and thin. Hannah's betrayal unfolded piece by piece. She had been promised an exit, a new name, a life without blood. She had believed she could trade a man for peace. Jun Sok grieved not just the loss of her, but the loss of the version of himself who had believed in a clean future without paying for the past. The counterstrike was quiet. Jun Sok dismantled the faction that had moved against him by freezing accounts, exposing informants, and offering exits to those willing to lay down arms. He chose restraint where once he would have chosen fire. It cost him power. It bought him something else. Myra's brother was returned at noon, shaken but alive. Mira cried until she could not stand. Jun Sok watched from the doorway and felt something ease in his chest that he had carried since childhood. He arranged documents, tuition, a job far from the city. When Mira tried to refuse, he shook his head. "You gave me truth," he said. "That's not a small thing." Weeks later, the restaurant reopened. New cameras. New owners on paper. Jun Sok sat alone at a corner table. The city still knelt, but it felt different now, less like conquest and more like responsibility. He folded a receipt and wrote 3 sentences, not a warning but a vow. Truth is protection. Courage is contagious. Choose it. He left the note under a cup and walked out into the light, carrying scars that would never fade in a future that, for the first time, felt earned.